Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for joining me. You clicked on this video to find out my top 10 Euro game list, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking with you about. I'm only doing this video for one specific reason, and that reason has to do with the individual right here on this computer screen. I'm joined today with Jazz from the Lobby of Hobbies. Good sir, nice to see you, although sooner or later we'll be in person.
Likewise. Nice to see you, man. You're not that much further now. Like you're closer, so that's a good thing.
I've moved to Maryland. I'm getting closer to you. It's only a matter of time, but for now, you sent me a message because you saw in one of my videos that I claimed that I played Euros, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what happened?
Of course, you know me. I call you out. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
So that led to a top 10 list here on our favorite Euro games. But this video is going to be split into two parts. Over here on Quackalope, the video you're watching right now is going to be 10 through 6, which I got to say, I got some surprises in there. So you might want to stay tuned. Don't click off too soon. But I know the thing that everyone wants to know is what are our favorite Euro games of all time at the moment. Tons of caveats there. And that's going to be over on Jazz's channel, The Lobby of Hobbies. Sir, what do you do over on your channel?
Oh, what do I do? So what I do over my channel is pretty much I want to introduce people to this hobby. I want to build a broader audience, pretty much get people who don't get into board games, but to introduce them to it. So the idea of Lobby of Hobbies, if they're into another hobby, I want them to enter while I share the games that I enjoy in hopes that they discover something worth checking out. And with you guys, I hope that you discover something maybe on my list that you want to check out, or maybe something that's not on my list that you want me to check out. That's the idea of Lobby Hobbies. Share our hobbies together within the community and do things together. So that's what it's all about here, Jesse.
So that video, number 1 through 5, is live right now, this moment, over on the Lobby of Hobbies channel. And I'm going to point out two things. First off, I don't play that many Euros. So if you like Euro games, prove that I'm wrong for not playing them by swinging over and subscribing to the Lobby of Hobbies. And second off, Jazz, I think you're standing right now at 250, 280 subs, somewhere around there, right?
I think right around like a little over 250.
That is insanely unacceptable. And so if you're a fan of me, if you enjoy the content that we put out here, if you've quacked anywhere on the internet, swing over there and hit the subscribe button. Even if you're going to watch 1 out of every 5 videos that he puts up, it is still going to be in your feed. It's going to remind you. You're going to be able to see the stuff that he's doing. I enjoy his content, and I'm excited to be collaborating with him. So that is part of the strategy of doing a Euro game video, which is something weird that I don't do. Jan should really be here covering this instead of me.
And we should be doing it probably in Spanish, or my broken Spanish, right?
Well, that's fair. That's fair. All that being said, I think it's about time to dip into this. Do you want the honors of kicking off this list?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
I guess because I play more Euros than you.
No. I play all the Euros. I play all the Euros.
All right. So listeners, he says he plays all the Euros.
Quick caveat, just in case I leave off any of your favorite Euros, assume that I've never played it before.
Or that he just doesn't like it. Let's just go there. All right, I'm going to kick it off with my number 10. And my number 10 is one that I've recently got to the table. I actually learned it this past week. And I've actually played it a couple times. And I've even played it a couple times two-handed because I just enjoyed it that much. And it's another Shem Phillips design. I'm loving what Shem Phillips is putting out. And this one is Viscounts of the West Kingdom, which is the third in that trilogy. It's just something about that rondelle mechanic, and I'm starting to love rondelles. I know Amy over at Thinker Themer is probably going to, give me a big thumbs up for that, but I'm a huge worker placement fan, but this rondelle mechanism is something that I'm starting to enjoy, and I do like the deck building aspect to the cards, the card play, which is something that I really like. Have you played this one, Jesse?
I have it downstairs, and Architects was on my list until I thought hard and heavy about it. I am very, very compelled by this series of games. I have enjoyed everything I've played so far, but I haven't fallen in love with any of them. And the promise that everyone keeps making me is that the next one is better. You go from Architects to Paladins, or you get up to Viscounts of the West Kingdom. Like every iteration that keeps coming out, I hear people say digs into what makes them so good, just another level. So I'm excited to hear this is on your list.
Yes, yes, and honestly, like I said, it just cracked number 10, and this is just this week. And I've been looking at it, I've been playing it. I've just going through the mechanisms, even going on TTS just to play multiple hands, just because it's easier than breaking everything out. But yeah, this one you got to check it out.
Okay. I have it downstairs. I will play it now that Jan and I are together. I will play it. My number 10, Jazz, I'm gonna go old school with this one. I'm gonna hopefully, actually, I'll probably lose respect for this one being at my number 10. I'm pulling out Power Grid. This is going to be a economic driven game with a ton of different variations, but I'm going standard box, classic Power Grid, where you're doing your very best to establish little city districts, pay your way forward, and slowly build connected routes that allow your network to provide as much energy as possible. This is all a math puzzle in front of you. It is ugly as sin. And every time I play it, the way that it scratches your brain is you're trying to figure out where are you going to expend your resources? How are you going to cut off your opponents? And where can you outthink or twist and turn in the right way to allow you to score those end game points? It's about as standard as you can get when it comes to an economic Euro game. And I have absolutely adored it.
I have, it's crazy because you're saying that the people are going to kind of get hard on you, that it's so low on your list.
I hear you.
You guys are probably going to get hard on me because I have not played this game.
No, that's embarrassing. Not. I mean, that's a shame for the Euro guy here to not have played Power Grid yet.
It's just one of those that has not come my way. I think honestly, when I got into the hobby, it just looked ugly to me.
Originally, it's very ugly.
And then it was one of those things that when I was interested in trying to dive into the economic games, what I just recently started this past year, it's one that I haven't been able to get locally. And I just can't, I guess, what is it? Not get into my collection with all the other things that are coming in. My wife kind of look at me crazy, like, what is all these other games you're bringing in, and you're going to bring in another one, and it doesn't look pretty? Because my wife likes the pretty stuff. What can you say?
Sure. My number 9, we're going to switch the order here. My number 9 is going to be Bus by Splotter. Now, this is a little bit of a weird Euro game, but as far as I can read it, it is still a Euro game. You are establishing chains, trying to establish a bus network on this wide open grid to get different types of people to different types of locations. So you're trying to get people to work, to their home, and then to the bar. And this game deals with time travel in a way that I've never seen a game deal with it, which sounds weird for a bus route building game. You see, you're going to have worker placement zones where you're allocating what actions you're committed to take when the actual sequence happens. So you're sort of programming your actions in a way and trying to balance that with what you think your opponents are going to be doing. But there's this one big button that you can press that allows you to freeze time so none of the buses vroom around the district. Well, that's a big deal because that's how you score points. That's how you move the game forward. That is the whole trigger that everyone is relying on. And you're given permission, if you dare, to hit that stop button for a cycle so that instead of the businessmen leaving the offices to go to the bar, they're going to stay at the offices. This game, I don't know if you've played this game before. It is probably the most accessible Splotter game I've ever came across, and it surprised me with how good it was.
I can tell you I have not played it, but I know exactly how good it was because at PAX Unplugged 2019, which is the last PAX we had, a couple of my buddies from Gaming with Sidekicks were actually playing a full game of it there. Isaac and JT over at Gaming with Sidekicks, they were playing, and I watched their entire game. I sat there and I enjoyed every bit of it, and I felt like I was, it's one of those games that I haven't played any Splotter games, but when I saw this, this is intriguing.
So Food Chain Magnet's not going to be on either of our lists then?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's not on my list. I know I'll tell you that.
When the world gets to a stage where we can do it, you and I are going to get together and play a day of Food Chain Magnet, because I think that's one we could both figure out.
Oh, I definitely agree. Definitely agree.
Okay.
So I guess we're on to my number 9.
Yeah. What is it?
My number 9 is something that's just a beauty when it hits the table. It's a recent design.
Everdell.
Oh no, not Everdell. But it is Honey Buzz. It's just something about Honey Buzz. I I have it so high. It's not just the fact that it's pretty, but I like the mechanisms of the tile laying, the aspect of, sending my bees out to forage for honey, for different things that they need to do. But it's something about placing those tiles down, creating those honeycombs to be able to trigger the actions that I need to do to build my engine to be able to win this game. It's one that I guess for me, my wife and I are super huge when it comes to playing games that are competitive. Yep. This is one that's very accessible for her, which I enjoy. If I can get a game that's light to midweight that she can play, I really, really enjoy this. But it's something about that puzzle network, tile laying, and she destroys me in tile laying. I destroy her when it comes to worker placements, when it comes to that aspect. But man, to be able to have two of our favorite mechanics in a game is something that I thoroughly enjoyed. I'd say this is definitely one you need to check out. And of course, if you can splurge, go and get the deluxe components, because the deluxe edition is definitely worth getting. It's just, down, it's
the fuzzy bee meeples. You got to get the fuzzy bee meeples.
And they're not even called bee meeples. They're called beeples. That's the correct term for it.
That is true. I'm sorry about that. Elf Creek Games, I apologize. I'm a sinner. Here's the thing. You play with memory or without memory?
We haven't played, using that memory element.
Okay.
But we enjoy it the way it is. I have played it and demoed it at PAX Unplugged, using that memory element, and that adds a super, super huge layer.
I like it. I like it the most. I like it the most without the memory, because it's just not how my memory works. But no, that's a lovely game, and not one I have played. I have played it. It's not one that I considered on my list, probably because it just didn't come across. It didn't come across my pathway as classical of a Euro. It's got that mix of worker placement and tile laying, but you're right. It doesn't have heavy interaction. It has moderate amount of interaction. It has almost perfect information, very little luck in it. And it's a economic resource management game at the end of the day. Interesting addition there. Yeah. All right. That was your
number
9.
So on to my number 8.
Yeah.
So my number 8, I'm bringing it back to Shem Phillips. And while many people, are big fans, it's the earlier design, not as early as Raiders. This one is Architects of the West Kingdom.
There we go. At least it made it. At least it's here.
Now, Architects is great because it definitely has hit. It hits on all cylinders for me. Having a worker placement game that has a great design, having the tree, that little tech tree of having to get up that when you're building for the church and trying to get those points there. But man, something about having that meanness of, putting someone's workers in jail. You think about a Euro game, you think about not having much player interaction, but this has just the right amount of player interaction. And there's games that can go without player interaction, depends on how people play. But man, I like that element that he added to this game with, I can place one worker down, get one resource. If I put another worker down, I'm getting more resources. And it's to the point, at what point is my opponent going to stop me from getting all those resources? And I think that's one thing that you don't see in many Euro games, but you're starting to see a little bit more player interaction. And it's not just about, hey, I'm blocking a spot, but it's about, hey, what can I do to kind of foil my opponent's plan? And that's what I love about this game. I will say Viscount is climbing up, and I have not played Paladin.
Okay.
I have not played Paladin, so that's not on my list, but something about Architects, and it's definitely an easier, accessible game, especially for newcomers to the hobby.
Paladin is why Architects left my list. It's not that I've played it. It's because I've been promised that it improves upon it. And so that was enough for me to it got some doubt in me. It sowed some doubt into my skin. And I sat there and I was like, I don't know if it deserves to be on here. It's so good though. Jan and I, it was one of the first games we played together when we first connected, and it just made sense to us, right? Everything was flowing. I love that application of playing workers, and you get that escalating return until someone decides to steal them all and send them off to jail. Has a really good flow to it, and I think hands down, it would probably be my only honorable mention. Because it was on there. It really was on there. And it got, let's see here. Yeah, my number 6 replaced it. So, so just for, just as we're moving forward, keep that in mind.
All right.
My number 8 is going to be the game that I think is the most likely to go up my rankings. So My number 9 is going to be probably one of the biggest, weirdest, most ambitious area control combined with Euro type economic resources in card play or action selection. It's going to be a game called Feudum. It is a giant world puzzle with different areas and regions that you can lay claim to, develop, and start establishing your bases. It has this amazing little cyclical Euro game element around the outside where you collect resources that pull over and pour into other resources. And if you have loyalty in each of these different regions, you'll gain a benefit when it's your turn to play. And the main action selection of the game is going to be a hand of, I believe, like 10 or 12 cards that you get back every turn, and then you get to choose to play down on the table, which leads to like 36 plus possibilities of straight first actions and a ton of possibilities when it comes to sequencing and how you solve this puzzle. The reason it's sitting here at number 8 is because I have yet to be able to play a full game of it. I've only been able to do the full how to play with a friend on TTS, and then about a 2-hour into this game that could take, 4 or 5 hours to play when you want to experience the full thing. And then combined with that, so I didn't feel like it was appropriate to push it high up the list, but I'm telling you, Jazz, this is on my list to play as quickly as possible when I have, maybe just with Jan, but when I have the opportunity to do a full like 3-4 player session and an evening to dedicate to it, this is on my list. And I think, give me 2 or 3 more plays, I think it'll move into my top 5. I love how weird and adventurous this game is. It is ambitious and it is messy, and I love those 2 things.
What's funny is this is one that I have seen and haven't even considered. It's one that I completely write off. But listening to you describe
it's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It's one of those that I've now have to check out, because honestly, it's one of those, like, I look at it and it's like, I don't even want to play that one. Like, it's just, it just looks like that, and I think
I love the artwork. I love the artwork.
And for me, maybe it is the artwork. Maybe it's just the fact that, people say it's not, I've seen people say it's not as accessible. And
it's an Jazz. I'm telling you, it's an hour and a half long teach.
So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But, it's funny. Well, although, Lacerda games sometimes have that thing, having 45 minutes to an hour long teach, right? But they're great. So, when it comes down to it, the teach is not what scares me. I don't know. Maybe it's just something about it. But hey, I will give it a try. I will give anything. Listen, I will give anything a try if it's right in front of me. I'm going to be honest with it. So if it's not on my list, it's probably because I haven't tried it. Doesn't mean that I'm just scared of it. It just means that, hey, I need the right person maybe to teach it to me. So
I think we're swinging up into my number 7, I believe.
Yes.
And I think I am going to get in trouble for this one. So I'm gonna say it, and then I'm gonna let you take it away just as quickly as possible, right? So that my number 7 is Terraforming Mars. Jazz, help.
I don't have it in my collection anymore. So what can I say?
Okay. So
I don't.
Terraforming Mars is a beautiful game. If you haven't played it before, I think it's worth playing. It's one I avoided because it was ugly and boring, and I wasn't compelled by it. But I did try it this last year, and I played the most perfect experience of it possible because it was from a group of players that knew what expansions to include, knew that you should include the drafting mechanic, and it was the best way to walk into this title. But that also means it's not going up into my top 5 position. There's so many other games that I love and have loved to experience out of the box. And Terraforming Mars, while I'm always excited to play it, I'm excited to play it with the context or the caveat that I want to be able to include the starting bonuses ability where you start with your different houses or your faction. I want to be able to include the drafting mechanic and the drafting rules so that you always have this crunchy decision to be made and more control over the cards instead of just cycling through that pile of cards. Hats off to everyone that loves Terraforming Mars and has it at their number 1. I understand and respect your decision now. Jazz got rid of it. Don't look at me. Jazz, I mean, it's not in his collection anymore. You can't blame me anymore.
It's one of those that I enjoy Terraforming Mars. It's one that, the card combos, like I said, playing with the Prelude expansion where, you have that, your different faction that you have. And the drafting mechanic definitely is the way to play, but you have to play that way with experienced players, and when you're playing that way with someone who's experienced, and I love it, and it's funny because the games can go by quick, but when you have people who are definitely newer to the hobby, which is primarily the people that I game with mostly, right? It's definitely one that I'm not bringing to the table. It's the one that I played a lot of solo, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I got rid of it because with the new Ares Expedition coming out from Kickstarter, that's the one that I think the artwork's beautiful, so it'd be more accessible for just people in general who have never tried any Euro, especially a dry Euro. But I think that's one that will get a lot more play just because you can play it instead of 2, sometimes 3 hours. You can play it within an hour and a half. So that is my reason. So I give you a legitimate reason that it's no longer in my collection. Not
I hear you. I hear you.
Like it, but
no. I think you're more to blame than me. Anyway, either way, what is your number 7, good sir?
All right. So my number 7 is one, man, that I saw it. When I've seen it set up, it's just something that's just stunning, and the theme is something that just gravitates.
I am not a Euro. Just for the record, I'm not a Euro. I appreciate the compliment, though.
If you're a fan of, like, when I think of like movies like Apocalypto, I think of this board game, and that is Teotihuacan. All right. City of Gods. That game, oh my gosh, it's just beautiful on the table. The little the tiles, it kind of, it reminds me of like a mahjong table, but where you're building that pyramid in the center of the table. It's just something that's beautiful, stunning. But again, this, I guess you would call, some people will say it's worker placement, some people say it's rondel. All I know,
it's kind of
Euro.
both. It's kind
of
both.
both. Yeah, it's a little bit of both, where you're taking that die and you're placing it on, moving it around that, that little rondel on the board, and you're choosing which action you want to take. But there's something about when you place that that die down, and you're leveling it up, and you gotta choose at what point do you want to level it up, at which point do you want that die to ascend so that you can move up on the avenue of the dead track. But the idea of, there's so many different tech trees that you're climbing up, and there's no one set way to win or have a strategy, right? You got to figure out which tech tree am I going to start up, but man, you have to balance going up and down each and every one of those tech trees to get the most, maximize the score possible. And this is one, well, I've probably played it once or twice on the table. I've played it multiple times on Board Game Arena, and I am enjoying it. Every time I play it, it's just one that just blows me away.
It's a beautiful game, and for me, that rondel pattern, that action selection pattern, is easily the most compelling or innovative part of it. Now, solo multiplayer, you said a lot of tabletop arena, so I know a lot of people love this one as a solo Euro as well.
I've played it. I have not played this one solo. This is one that I actually had a friend teach me, okay. and my younger brother, who is he's a video gamer hands down. But he taught it to us on Board Game Arena. Then me and my brother actually had gotten a chance to play it twice, physically set up. And then me and my brother will play it on Board Game Arena every other time. So it's one that I'm enjoying, something that he's enjoying, and something that it's like to take a kid who's 18, going to be 18, who, he's all about video games, all about all that cool stuff. But to just say, here, you've played all these cool little fun, war type games with me, but then say, here, let me just give you a heavy, midweight to a heavier Euro game. But man, he fell in love with the game. So yeah. I guess I give it credit. And you talked about a game that's going to be climbing up your list. I think the more times I play this game, I can see this one going up.
Very cool. I believe we're on to number 6.
So my number 6, you have people who kind of argue with this game. Is it really a Euro? Is it not a Euro? Let's be real. It's a Euro. And that is Blood Rage. Blood Rage is a Euro.
All right. Pause right here. Wait a minute. Justify yourself, because it needs to be on my list if we're counting it as a Euro. I'm just throwing that out there, and it's not currently.
Okay, a lot of people say a Euro is something that just doesn't have any interaction, but isn't a Euro game something that has victory points? That is how you win the game. There is a victory point marker and track around this board, right?
Sure.
There is not much, which you can say, luck to the game. Everything comes in how you play your cards. You're drafting your cards in the beginning, which I think is a wonderful mechanic. Euro games are about drafting cards. So you're drafting these cards. This is one that, it's all about skill. If I was to sit down with someone who is completely new to this game, and I'm just playing the base game without any added things, any added modules, of course, my strategy, I'm going with the Loki strategy, right? I want to kill off all my guys, and that strategy, to have someone who is completely new to the game just pass me these Loki cards, I'm just gonna relish in the fact that I'm gonna potentially win at this game. You can play this game and win without having much conflict. You really can. It's just how you play it. The idea of there are various ways you have to work yourself up on your skills and your traits to be able to maximize the multipliers of how you're going to get your victory points at the end of the game. It is 100% a Euro that looks like an Ameritrash game.
I mean, listen, I hear it being an Ameri, I hear it being a Euro. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I have to say, Blood Rage is probably a top 5, if not a top 3 for me at the moment. And it's not on my list because I didn't think it quite qualified. I thought the player interaction, I thought the combat, I thought that was slightly too far for me to count it as a Euro. But I don't know. Like I considered it. So the conversation's there. Like I was having it. Having it.
All right. For those that are listening, this is the debate I see go back and forth on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere all the time. I'm asking you, is it a Euro?
Because I love this.
Because if it's not, I will tell you what, and we're going to come back to this. I will tell you what would have made my list if this is not a Euro. But honestly, I will fight for it. I will fight that it is a Euro. And I know there's people who are going to fight with me. So if it is, down in the comments below, fight for me. Blood Rage Euro? Yes? Okay. That's what I got to say. Woo. It's a Euro.
Ooh. This is spicier than I expected. All right. Coming in on my number 6 is going to be the game that kicked Architects of the West Kingdom off my list. Jazz?
Paladins.
No.
Oh, no. Is this Raiders?
No. It's none of them. It's none of them. I'm bringing in Rococo. This is going to be an Eagle Griffin game. It's one that I just recently played with Jan. It is all about crafting the perfect ball gowns.
It's also one that I have coming in this week.
Yes, it's so good. It's so good. So listen up. So Rococo, the initial impressions is not going to be something that would normally attract me, despite the fact that the art and aesthetic of it is absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful. It's all about crafting European ball gowns and getting the highest rank for this ornate, lavish lifestyle of the nobility that let's be honest, a little boy from, foothills of Appalachia, born and raised in Kentucky, son, I ain't never seen no nobility. We got horses, bourbon, and poverty, and it's only a problem when you combine all 3 of them. But Rococo is wonderful. It has this combination of not deck building really, but deck or hand management combined with worker placement and worker allocations. And that push and pull of perfecting your deck, cycling cards out, even discarding cards to gain gold in order to do your very best to perfect and build and gain prominence in each of these different rooms that are on display. Jazz, this game, I'm so excited you have it coming in.
Yes.
But just to mediate your expectations, it's terrible. It's terrible. You shouldn't play it at all. You should probably go in with mild expectations. But everyone that isn't Jazz, that doesn't have this game yet, go out and purchase it immediately. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite Eagle Griffin games. And that's saying a lot considering the titles they have under their belt.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I've this is one that I honestly, when I didn't back the Kickstarter, it's one that I kicked myself in the butt about. And it's one that's like, oh, maybe I should just go ahead and just find an older copy, just because, everybody says the game is so good. And it was one of those things that's like, do I really want to be building these innate dresses?
No, but the answer is yes.
But then hearing how beautifully it's done, the Ian O'Toole artwork, all that stuff, it really sold me. And then, when my wife was watching, episode after episode of Bridgerton on Netflix, I was like, oh, I can get this to the table with her. So yeah, this is something that,
I love it. And that's always a big question. A big question for what I'm currently playing and what is going to be making it to the table is who do I have around me? What's my game group operating at? And so, exactly. That's awesome. That being said, that's going to be our, 10 through 6. If you want to see the rest, the 1 through 5 or the 5 through 1, whichever order I'm supposed to say them in, it's all going to be over on the Lobby of Hobbies channel, meaning the top link in the description below. And Yeah, I mean, hopefully that was enjoyable, Jazz. I mean, half decent. I think I did okay.
I think so. Listen, I don't know. You were calling me the Euro guy, and I called you out. I think people down in the comments are going to be saying, do I really even want to go over to that channel? Because
listen,
he might even be a Euro guy.
You brought in a game that wasn't a Euro. You competed with me on I don't know. You got rid of Terraforming Mars. You've made some missteps so far, but either way,
what's better than ending this half of the list with some controversy? That's what I like to do. What can you say?
I'll acknowledge that my list gets more interesting the higher we go. All that being said, thank you for being here. Whatever you do, remember to do the important thing. Go subscribe to the Lobby of Hobbies. Stop. What are you doing here? Get out of here now.